What is up, everybody? Bobby here, the Nintendo Guru. Time for an NES Classic Edition review. So what's up, everybody? I wanted to do this NES Classic Edition review. I've had it for a couple weeks now, but got busy with work. Been sick. As you can hear, I'm still got some remnants. I'm still trying to get over it. But anyway, so my first impressions on this thing was, when I first got it, I thought, oh my god, this thing is so cool. You know what I mean? Like, the box is small and it's all that. And you've seen all the comparisons against the big one versus the little one and all that. So I'm not going to do more of that. But I mean, this is essentially it. Like, it's a little bit bigger, or about the same size of a 3DS. You know, I love the thing. I think there's a lot of detail to it, a lot of cool stuff. It'd be nice if the flap opened up or whatever, but that's fine. That's no big deal. Just really cool, great attention to detail. I know these things blew out and it was hard for people to get them. I was fortunate enough to get one launch day. Wound up getting it to my house maybe like 3 or 4 days later. There are some drawbacks to this thing. Number one drawback is the controller. There's not much to it at all. I mean, you're talking about 2 foot, 2.5 foot, something like that, and it's not the greatest thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's horrible. I know people are talking about, like, oh, we'll get a long HDMI cord and all that, and I did buy the extension cord for this, $10 at Best Buy. But then I heard this, that the reason why this cord is not long is because it uses the same technology that was basically the nunchuck and the Wiimote. If they did that, if they used a longer cord, they would have to basically make this a thicker gauge wire, change the configuration of the controller, and it wouldn't be its natural way that the controller was originally made and intended. If you use the extension cord, you could get errors. There could be latency, some delays, some lag between your inputs and what's on the screen. So a game like Zelda, you might want speed, you might not want to have that lag. A game like Mario, you definitely don't want to have that lag. So that stuff makes a lot of sense, and I understand it now. And with that in mind, like, I think, like, okay, I get why you did it. No problem. I'm okay with it. Not okay with it, though, in terms of, like, playing on my TV and my game room. I had to push my chair all the way up to my center, to my shelving, and then even then, like, I was playing with the thing down on my lap. Like, I wasn't able to just enjoy the controller and the game, and then when I wanted to reset or restart, I had to, like, pull the thing up off the floor because it was laying on the floor, hit the reset button. The wiring, just nothing seemed to be to my liking. Put it away. I literally put this up on the shelf and was like, alright, well, it's cool for a little feature, a little thing. And then what I did was I started using this. I plugged it into my Wiimote and I started going back onto some virtual console games and playing. And then I thought, man, but let me give this another try. So real quick, I want to take you over. I want to show you my setup of how I lined all this up. Alright, so as you can see, basically what I did was I had a 32-inch TV on the wall next to my 52-inch TV, and Tony was originally using this TV whenever we played Mario Kart, Splatoon, but we haven't been playing a lot of that lately with the online community. So I said, you know what, rather than keeping that thing on the wall for now, I'm going to take it off and put it to some use. So I have my Mac computer here, and this is where I do my podcasting and all during the day, on weekends and such. So what I did was I basically took the NES Classic, took the TV, I have a little hole in the top of the desk here, so I ran my wire down and plugged it in. HDMI cord, real obviously easy, you just take it, throw it in here. That's done. That's the easy part. That's simple. But then I thought, where am I going to plug this thing in at? Because I got a little bit of a problem. You know, I got the adapter that comes with it, and it's a USB cord, and I thought, this is not going to work for me. So what I did was I actually plugged it in the back of the TV, right to the USB slot, and plug that in, and now I'm powered. I got my juice and I'm good to go. Then I just slide this up over here, and all my wires are kind of tucked away behind, and I'm good to go. Let's turn around to the other side. All right, so now we're back around on the other side of the TV, and essentially, I mean, here it is. We're good to go. Let me plug in, move this stuff out of the way for a second. Let me plug in my controller. I'm going to get into the other controller in a minute. But, you know, now because I'm where I am, where the NES Mini is, it's not really, the distance isn't that bad, because when I play right here. So as you can see, my hands are here. There's a screen. I'm about 2 foot away, give or take. If I want to lean back in my chair, I still got plenty of room. You know, as you can see, I'm not really having an issue. Now, the one thing that people were complaining about was they didn't make enough or release enough of the NES controller, the original NES controller. So, as a second controller, I'm using the Wii Classic controller that came with the Wii. Now, people were saying like, oh, well, you got to take apart this whole thing, this white thing, and there's a clear plastic on the back, and you got to take that apart. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Whoever's telling you that is lying to you and not truthful at all. Because when you take this and you plug it into the second port, you're good to go. The only problem you would have is if you put this in player 1 slot. So if you put it in the first slot, you're going to have an issue with it. Otherwise, I got no issue at all with this thing. You power the TV on, the NES Mini Classic pops up, we're good to go. The nice thing about having the Wii Classic controller is, watch, I'll show you something. Let's say I jump through and I just jump on Castlevania, right? And then I go, oh, you know what? I don't want to play Castlevania. If I push the home button on here, it takes me back out, which is kind of cool. You know what I mean? I like that factor. It's a nice little thing. You know, honestly, now the way the setup is, like, I'm really loving it. Like, I like my computer here, so if I want to look something up, maybe I'm stuck on something, I can pop it in and just look up real quick. The other thing is I love playing this console now. I really do like the system. At first I thought, like, man, I'm not going to enjoy this. And moving it to this setup where I have it on my desk, away from my big TV, I'm not having to slide it around and move it around. It's been a lot more enjoyable for me. And I gotta be honest with you, like, I find myself playing it a lot now. I set this up yesterday. Been playing it consistently ever since I set it up. Playing games like Final Fantasy, Zelda the original, Kid Icarus, just enjoying it so much more. And the concept and the setup where there's not wires all over the place, like, is just amazing. Just the fact that I could plug it into my TV for my power, eliminated a plug essentially that I don't have to use now. Love that aspect. I never even thought about that before. Does the wire stink on the controller? Yeah, but you know what? The setup that I have, I took it completely out of the equation now. Does not faze me at all. The other nice thing about this is recording footage. So all the footage that I shot for this, I recorded it right on my Mac, sitting right here. And because I have my Elgato 60, I just plugged it right in, and it worked no problem. It was smooth, precise, no issues at all. I gotta tell you, using this controller completely changes your ability to play the original Nintendo games. When you take that Wiimote and you turn it to the side, it's just not the same, honestly. This controller is what I feel like, it's just natural. I drop in and I start playing these original Nintendo games, and I'm playing them with the controller that was intended. It's just muscle memory. It all comes right back, and I feel that love and that desire to play these games again the way it is. I love the different aspects. You know, if you want to play in the way a CRT TV looks, it has the grids and the lines, it gives you that old feel to it. You can play 4x3, or you can play Pixel Perfect. I've been playing Pixel Perfect, and I started playing Pixel Perfect on my 3DS, on my new 3DS, and ever since I started playing Pixel Perfect, I don't really want to play any other way. It just feels precise, it feels good, and it just looks beautiful, honestly. So I'm not sure why you would want to play any other way than Pixel Perfect, but different strokes, different folks. It's all part of what you like. I like the CRT view. That's kind of cool. The grids and all that. It's kind of neat. And the 4x3 looks good as well. It's just a little stretched out on the side. It's more rectangular as opposed to Pixel Perfect, which was in like the perfect box. As far as like what my feelings are with this thing, but I'm not here to say like this game's better than that one or any of that. Like, that's not what this is about. This is more about my experience with the NES Classic at this moment. Very happy with it. Really, I am. And if you can find a similar setup, don't try to put it with your regular entertainment center, because I think you're just going to disappoint yourself at the end of the day. When I changed it and I moved it up and I said, you know what, my big TV, my big shelving, all my stuff, that's for my big consoles. That's for my full-size consoles. This is just kind of nice to sit on top of the desk. Luckily, I have a big enough desk that didn't even faze me putting that 32-inch TV up there, honestly. And I like having, like I said, I like having it side by side to my computer. Really fun, really enjoyable. Tony's actually come down a couple times. She played some Bubble Bobble and original Super Mario Brothers. She's been enjoying it, you know, and it's nice to have it there side by side. So when I get a chance, I will buy a second NES controller, just because I like the controller better than the Wii Classic controller. But again, anybody's telling you got to take it all apart and break, stop. Don't listen to it. Just put it in the second port. You're good to go. You're fine. It is what it is. My takeaways, it has all my favorite games, you know, all my favorite classic games. The main reason why I wanted this game was Star Tropics Final Fantasy. I could have got Star Tropics on the Virtual Console, just never did. Final Fantasy just never hit any place but this. So I dove back in last night and started playing it again, just really enjoying my time with it. Double Dragon 2, great game, another standout game. Like, you go back and you play some of these games, and my first thought was like, why did they put these games in there? Then I started playing them and I'm like, wow, they're really good games. Galaga probably could have went by the wayside. I mean, especially since you have Gradius in there, and Gradius to me is the better game of a shooter, you know, fighter pilot type game. But whatever. Overall, if I'm looking at it, I'm saying, what am I giving it on a scale of 1 to 10? Probably going to give it an 8, a solid 8. Maybe even go as high as 8.5. No doubt about it. And the reason why I'm going to not give it a 10. Number one is that's a perfect score, and this is not the perfect console by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of things they could have done to this thing that they didn't do. There's no upgradability. You can't add other games to it later, and I understand it's a plug and play and it's not what it's meant for. I get that, but we're looking at overall and what they could have done with this thing and what they didn't do with this thing. The cord, you know, it stinks, and I get why they kept the shorter cord, but for people that aren't in my situation, this stinks, and it's going to hurt Nintendo in that factor. So that had to get some markdown. And then lastly, some of the games. I felt like they could have went with some heavier hitters in this. They could have put a baseball game in there. They could have shifted Tecmo Bowl to Tecmo Super Bowl, which was a much far superior football game as opposed to Tecmo Bowl. I love Tecmo Bowl, don't get me wrong, but they could have made some changes on that and done some things differently. But overall, I think it's a great thing to have, and any Nintendo fan, young, old, definitely should grab this thing, regardless. For $60, it's a no-brainer. Do not feed the scalpers. Nintendo has already said that there's going to be more of these hitting the stores. Just be patient, and I think after the holiday, if you don't get it before the holiday, that stinks. You don't get it right now, that stinks, but just don't pay $200, $300, $400 for these things, because that's not worth it, honestly. For me, I would never pay that kind of money for this, but that's neither here nor there. Everybody buys based upon what they feel the need and the desire to do. Think about it, though. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching this little review of the little NES Classic Edition. Hopefully they do more. I think that Classics line, if you look at the top of the box, it says Classics on it. I think they're really going to start maybe doing more of these. Super Nintendo would love that, seriously. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at Nintendo Gurus. If you like this video, click the like button. If you're not a subscriber, why not subscribe? This way you get notifications whenever I got new stuff going up. That is all. See me later.